proficiency, or you become proficient in doing what we need to do to become successful. The topic I want to discuss with you today is called inviting. Why is inviting important? Inviting is important because it is a gateway of becoming successful in the business. If you don't master inviting, your business will not succeed. So in the last week, we went through the income producing activities. That is the things you do on a daily basis to grow your business. You've sat down, you've written a list of people. We spoke about the different ways of writing a list. First, all the people that you know. Number two, looking at your contact list on your phone. Number three, using the alphabet to describe the different professions, and out of each profession you write 3 or 4 names, and then meeting 2 people every day, attending events so that you can meet new people. Those are the ways you develop a good name list. The next thing you need to do, if you don't learn how to invite professionally or properly, your business doesn't grow. Why? Because our business grows through exposure. The reason why people join the business is because somebody exposed them to the business. So, what is inviting? Inviting is, number 1, identifying a prospect. Number 2, making sure you actually ask them to watch the presentation successfully before you go to the next step, which is follow-up. A few things about inviting that are very important if you really want to master inviting. Number 1, you need to be emotionally detached from the outcome. What do I mean by this? I mean that if you want to invite a prospect, you should adopt the attitude that whether they say yes or no does not affect the way you feel. I know this is not easy because when I started the business, I was completely convinced or consumed about the business. I knew beyond doubt that the business works. I had seen it from my leaders. I had seen people who are making extraordinary income, and I believed in the concept. But I remember that one of the first few people I invited for the presentation was one of my colleagues at the office. We went for the meeting. After the meeting, he looked at me and said, "Pascal, you're an engineer and you're selling soap." That really knocked me down. And when I went to my training leader, Johannes van Eden, he burst out laughing, and then he said, "Now I know you're doing the business." So it took me time to recover. That's why I'm saying if you want to invite people correctly, make sure you're emotionally detached from the outcome. It means whether the person says yes or no, it doesn't affect you much. That's one. The second thing, you need to be yourself. Why? Because you need to be authentic about what you're doing. When you act the way you don't normally act, people will sense it. They will know something is not quite right. So be yourself. Number 3, be enthusiastic. One of the most important qualities that you can bring into invitation is enthusiasm. Why? The person on the other side, if it's by phone, the person on the other side will actually sense whether you're enthusiastic about the business or not. The word enthusiasm comes from the word entheo, which means the God within. So there has to be confidence coming from within your mind and your heart. So be enthusiastic. Number 4, have a strong posture. What does a posture mean? Posture simply means confidence. In fact, posture means the attitude you present to your prospect is saying, I don't care whether you join a business or not. That is having a strong posture. It means you're confident about what you're selling or the information you're giving to your prospect. That is what having a strong posture is. That comes from knowing exactly what you're inviting them to do. Number 2, inviting them professionally. Now, let's go through the inviting process. This is the inviting formula. It's got 8 steps. And the 8 steps may seem quite long, but actually it will take about 2 minutes if you do it correct, 2 to 3 minutes if you do it correctly. Step number 1, you need to be in a hurry. Why? Because people who are in a hurry, others know that they have got important things to do. Number two, compliment your prospect. That means identify something genuine that you see in your prospect. There's a very big difference between flattery and compliment. Flattery is saying something which you don't see in the person, but attempting to influence their feelings. Compliment means that you genuinely see something positive or good in the prospect and you bring it to their attention. That is what compliment and flattery means. Flattery is not genuine. Compliment is genuine. So be genuine about your compliment. Number three, ask the question: are you open to look at a way to generate additional income? Most people answer that question with a yes, I am open. Step number four. Okay, let me say you're inviting somebody to watch a video. This is what you say. If I send you a 10-minute video, would you watch it? Most prospects will say, yes, I will watch it. Step number five. Now you are looking for a time commitment. When do you think you will watch it? Then the person say, I'll watch it this evening, or I'll watch it tomorrow morning. The next step. So if I call you tomorrow morning, you will have watched the video. If the person is the one who set the time, then they're likely to say yes. Number seven, when they've said that if I call you tomorrow, will you have watched it? Then they say yes. Step number eight, what is a suitable time for me to call you tomorrow? And the last step is, okay, I'm sending you the video now, speak to you tomorrow, and then end the conversation. Very important thing you need to notice about this invitation formula. Number one, it is a prospect who actually sets the time to watch the video, not you. That's why you need to ask, if I send you, would you? Then asking, when do you think you will watch the video? It's very important to phrase it that way, because first is a prospect who sets a time to watch the video. Number two, they're the ones who say they're going to watch it. Number three, they're the ones who say the right time for you to call them the next day, or if it's the same day, for you to actually discuss the contents of the video. That's very important. Being in a hurry is important so that the person knows that you don't want to waste time. Number two, you ask them a question that they answer yes or no. Few people actually says, no, I'm not interested. And then if they say they're not interested, you say, well, maybe this business is not for you. I would like to speak to other people, and then end the conversation. Or if you want to find out, if you ask them, are you open to look at a way to generate additional income? They say, no, I'm not interested. Maybe something you can say, oh, I'm very happy that you're financially well set, that you don't need additional income. You see, you don't aggravate a prospect. It's very important to actually maintain that. Okay. Now, let's say you want to invite somebody to come for a physical meeting. You call them, John, I'm just going for another meeting. I've got a quick question for you. When we met the other day, you told me that you're very ambitious. You'd like to generate additional income. Would you like to see a way or a concept to generate additional income? They say, yes, I'm open. Then tomorrow we have a meeting at 10 o'clock, and I'd like you to come and have a look. The dress code is formal or is smart casual. I'll be there at about 1:45 so that we can prepare for the presentation. Would you be able to come? The person may say yes or no. If they say yes or no, and then describe in detail where the meeting is going to be. For example, I remember when I was in Nairobi in November. Is it November? No, I was in Nairobi in April, and there was a meeting in town. So I invited the prospects, and I described very clearly with a lot of detail about the venue, that if you go to the Hilton Hotel, the entrance is between the Kencom House. So opposite the Kencom House, And if you go to the entrance, you will find security, and maybe they will do a body search. After that, you walk and you will find red carpets, and you can walk upstairs, or you can use a lift up to the first floor. When you get to the top of the stairs, you turn right, you will see where the presentation is going to be. You will see a New Life sign. The reason you describe those details, because those details remain in the mind of the prospect. Okay, so give them as much information as possible and say, if you come early, you will find me there. I'll be wearing a black jacket and a tie, whatever it is. Describe something to them so that they can identify you and say, okay, we'll meet tomorrow. I'll keep my phone on. In case you get lost, give me a call. That is another way to invite. So invitation is a very simple step-by-step process where you invite your prospects to watch a video and you make a commitment to follow up after they have watched the video. Remember something about follow-up. Once, let me say, you've spoken to your prospects have seen the business, the next thing is to follow up. Remember, what is the goal of prospecting? The goal of prospecting is to educate. That means to give the prospect enough information so that they can actually join and look at becoming a distributor in the business. This is not a sales process. It is a process of educating the prospect to actually look at the business. So act as a consultant, not a salesperson, or act. I think if you maintain the attitude of a farmer, you're likely to succeed, because a farmer normally knows that when they plant anything, it doesn't grow up immediately. It takes time. They're very patient. They prepare the soil very well. They pay attention to the seed. A consultant does the same. They give information to the prospect. Number 3, ask questions that reveal the prospect's thinking. What is your goal? What is it that you want to do? For example, if you have you have sent the video to a prospect, and the next day you call them and you ask, hey, by the way, John, what did you like about the presentation I sent you? That question is put that way so that you direct the prospect to look at something positive in what they saw. What did you like most about the presentation? Is it the product, the business, or both? When they say, yes, I like the business side because it makes a lot of sense, the next thing you need to ask, do you see yourself getting involved in our business? If they say yes, then you tell them, okay, let's make arrangement for you to get started. This is the application form. How are you going to make the payment? Is it cash, or is it by, if you're in Kenya or East African region, is it by M-Pesa or mobile money, or are you going to pay money in the bank? Sometimes we are shy of asking prospects to look for money. It's very important for you to know how to ask that question. When will you get the money to get started? The other thing about follow-up is, remember, it takes 4 to 6 exposures before the prospect actually joins. Why is that? Because most people are conditioned to say no. The average child, by the time they reach 18, they have heard the word no almost 148,000 times. What does that tell you? That they are conditioned to say no. A child who is 1 or 2 years old, they take their finger and put in the socket and say, no, 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 don't touch it. That is 3 times. In one day, you tell a child almost 10 to 15 or 20 times the word no. Don't do this, don't go out, don't touch the stove, don't do this. So the word no becomes part of their process. And when you become an adult, they've had the no so many times, and then they get used to saying no. That is good because it provides safety for the child, but at the same time, it makes them not being able to take risks. So as parents, you need to know how to regulate the amount of no's you tell a child. So remember, if a prospect will say yes after 4 to 6 exposures, sometimes even 10 exposures, never give up on any prospect. Okay. Then the other thing about follow-up is, remember, objections. When somebody is objecting, somebody may say, no, I don't have money, or I don't have time, or that business is not for me, I'm not a salesperson. All those objections are boils down to two things only. One, limiting beliefs in themselves, and number two, limiting beliefs in the network marketing profession. That's all. All the others are just excuses. But you don't tell your prospect, no, that is just an excuse. No. You need to identify what that limiting belief is. Somebody who says, I don't have time. Well, it's when people say they don't have time, if you think about it, all of us have exactly 24 hours. Nothing more, nothing less. So the people who succeed are the ones who know how to make use of those 24 hours. When people say they don't have money, maybe they don't. Betty and I did not have money when we started. In fact, when we got started, I wrote a check and asked my bank manager to honor the check because I didn't have the cash to pay. That's how we started. We got an overdraft from the bank. So when somebody says they don't have money, in fact, the thing that I find very exciting is, I remember reading a book that if somebody says that they don't have money and you ask them a question, okay, if I told you that in 6 months' time, if you look for the money to start, you'll have a brand new car outside waiting for you. Would you look for the money? Most people say, yes, I would look for the money. Why did they look for the money? Because they don't see the potential of the business. Okay, so when people say no, the objections are boiled down to two things: limited belief in themselves and limited belief in network marketing profession. Another very important thing that it's quite easy to make this mistake: do not argue with your prospects concerned. When you do that, the prospect actually feels that you don't really care or you're not listening to what they're going through or saying. So don't argue with your prospects. Address the concerns they have. In fact, the feel, felt, found rule is very, very important. If somebody says that they don't have money, say something like, I know what you feel like. I felt that I felt that when I got started, but I found out that if I could actually borrow money to get started, something like that. So it's very important not to dismiss the concern of your prospects, but show them a way to overcome it. Okay? The last thing I want to discuss with you is persistence. There are two words that are normally mixed, and they are synonymous, but they're not the same: persistence and consistency. What is the difference? Consistency is doing something over and over again over an extended period of time. It's like a habit. For example, somebody who goes to church services every Sunday, they don't miss. That is called consistency. Somebody who runs and exercises every day, that is called consistency. Okay, so consistency is doing, repeating an action or a behavior over an extended period of time. Persistence, on the other side, is doing activities aimed at a specific goal despite challenges. That is what persistence means. The difference is persistence has a goal aimed at. Number two, there's going to be challenges. So persistence is doing the same thing that you need to do despite the challenges you face in order to achieve a specific goal. And that is very important in our business. If you are a distributor now, your goal is to get to manager. And that should happen by persisting on doing what you need to do. I see Jackie Kyo has raised their hand. I don't know if there's a problem. Okay. Jackie, is there something you need? Just one moment, please. Okay, let me go through that about persistence. Persistence is doing something over and over again until you get what you want. It's directed towards a goal. Important things about persistence. Number one, there has to be a specific goal. If you don't have a goal, there is nothing for you to persist in doing. So there has to be a goal that you have set for you to achieve the goal, to achieve. Number two, you need to repeat specific actions towards that goal. If it's, for example, if you're a manager and you want to be a senior manager, you need to talk to people every day to make sure you've got new people in your team to go to the next step. Number three, you need to put in your daily habits things that enable you to achieve those goals. Reading regularly, because there's a lot of negative information. You need to read something positive to help you to maintain that discipline on a daily basis. You need to identify the prospects you speak to every day so that you continue doing it. Just one moment, please. I see Ann Gao has raised her hand. Okay, so I think persistence simply means that you keep doing what you need to do until you achieve the goal. First, have a dream. Number two, have a plan to achieve that goal. Number three, keep doing the goal every time. Number four, have self-talk so that you will come across times when you feel discouraged. Sometimes you will feel that this thing is not working. Okay? Okay, somebody saying your slide on persistence is not on. No, because I did not prepare the slide on persistence. The reason why I didn't do that is this slide that I'm using today were for a previous presentation, but persistence is something I've been reading over and over again. And it's very simple. Number one, there has to be a goal that you're working towards. Number two, it has to be boiled down towards daily habits. Number three, you need to realize that you're going to go through a difficult period to overcome these challenges. And number four, you need to have something that helps you overcome discouragement. That is reading every day, listening to positive things every day, surrounding yourself with the people who will encourage you despite the challenges that you go through. If you keep doing those simple things every day, you will achieve your goal. And when you do achieve your goal, this is very important. When you do achieve the goal that you are looking at, set a bigger goal, because once you've achieved that goal, you need to create a bigger goal so that you keep on persisting until you achieve the final goal. If you're a director, your goal is no longer to be a director. Your goal is to be an emerald director or sapphire director or ruby director. So there is no shortcut to achieving those goals. Once you've achieved one goal, set a goal for the next, set a bigger goal than the one you have. Once you've achieved that one, set another goal for the next one, because that is what keeps you going. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for spending this evening with Betty and myself. I see somebody has sent a comment which is very true. There is no persistence without resistance. In fact, resistance is what tests your determination to become successful. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you very much. Next week is the second week that we have of the last week of July. So still go after your goals. And if you haven't achieved the goals you've set for the last 2 weeks, July has 2 more weeks of working, and I wish you every success. Thank you and good night.